So, Chris, you're smiling. Does that suggest you've had a better week as far as COVID tests and all the rest go?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. So obviously, when 20 plus have it, then without being a scientist, I think obviously the chances of getting it straight away are slim to none, aren't they? For about 3 months, I think. So can hold his breath a little bit. But yeah, I mean that's as I've said, Mark. In terms of not just me, other managers up and down the country, that's what we're going to be living with now to the rest of the season. I think till the end of the season. So, but we still, lateral flow tests and fingers crossed we've come through obviously that sort of hectic period that we were involved in.
So has life felt a bit more normal this week then?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, in terms of getting back to socially distanced meetings and working out on the training ground with the majority of players as well. Obviously, a couple of the new guys coming into work for the first time has brightened the place up as well. I'm a big believer. This is an important window for us, as I've always said. But big believer in good players coming into good groups, lifts and raises the standard, and which obviously that has done this week. So it just keeps everybody on the toes as well. I think players looking around and seeing what we're trying to implement and what we're trying to do, and trying to raise the standards in terms of the group and the depth of the group and the quality of it.
There's a lot of excitement from the fans, it would appear, about Folarin Balogun. Is that excitement that you share as his manager?
Well, I think we all should share. Yeah, we've managed to capture, one of the brightest young players in that position. England 21 centre forward, incredibly highly rated by Arsenal. I'm delighted, and that Arsenal see his future here. I think that was a massive thing for us, and a massive coup for us that Arsenal wanted him to come here. I think it got narrowed down to 2 clubs from, I should imagine, about 20. So I think that just shows what the work that we're doing or trying to do, and maybe the reputation that we've got, and one reputation that we want to enhance and keep going to attract really good young footballers to this club from the top clubs. And I don't see no downside in terms of that relationship that we've built with the senior clubs, with the Premier clubs, the senior Premier League clubs in English football. I think there's no downside to that as far as we're concerned as a football club.
He did say when I spoke to him yesterday that he obviously spoke to you before making the decision to come to Middlesbrough, but he'd spoken to you in the past as well when you were Sheffield United manager. So he's clearly one you've had your eye on for a little while.
They're all going to say those nice things about me, Mark, because they want to play, don't they? So I'm a little bit more experienced than that. Now, listen, they're all genuine boys, and they're good boys as well. Good personalities and good characters. Connolly, good personality, good character. Flo, the same, and good players as well. So we've added 2 at the top of the pitch, which we're delighted about. Yeah, I have made contact with Flo before at my previous club. He's one that we've known about for quite a while, and I've got to say, as soon as we sort of came in the building and looked at the window, he was definitely a target, and delighted to get that target.
Is he ready to start? Is he ready if you decide to give him a debut tomorrow?
Well, obviously you know about the COVID situation with him, and he would have been up a little bit earlier. So he was one that obviously tested positive. So we'll check and we'll see. But whatever team I pick for Saturday, is going to be a strong team, and one I expect to go well. And when the window closes, which I've said consistently, I believe it'll look better and stronger, and that's the aim and that's the target. It looks better and stronger than it did when the window opened, and I believe it will.
Would it look better with Riley McGree in it as well? I mean, how close are you to getting that deal done?
Yeah, we are. We're delighted as well. Another young player that we've managed to capture on a permanent. obviously there's certain situations that you have to deal with, whether it's in the loan market or from a permanent point of view. And the area that I looked at was energetic, talented, enthusiastic players, young players as well, on permanence as well. We have to build our assets up. I think one of the things that I'm looking at now is from an asset point of view. The boys that we've got in the building, and we've certainly got an asset in terms of signing Riley McGree. It's just got to go through the final bits and pieces. We're fingers crossed that he'll be involved tomorrow. We beat off strong competition. We've known about this player for a long time, by the way, so there's a lot of nonsense being talked as well. I need to sort of get to the bottom of it, that we've blown people out the water in terms of fees, in terms of wages, with Flo, with Aaron Connolly, with Riley McGree. We've been into these players for a while now. We've understood the deals and the situations, and as happens, these boys that are coveted by a lot of other clubs. But I think genuinely, you ask all three players, and that where they wanted to come and wanted to be. They've got their opinion. Are they going to say that? Yeah, but I genuinely believe that they want to be here, and especially in Riley's case. And as I said, I've known about Riley for quite a while, and I think that just goes to the hard work that we put in terms of what the players, the characteristics, what we identify, what type of player we want to bring to the football club. And we're bringing, talk about the cricket, we're bringing an Aussie in, so I would have been able to give him a little bit of stick this morning for the first time. But I think you understand the mentality of Australian sports people, and understanding after speaking to Riley what he's about and what he makes him tick. He's ambitious, he's aggressive, he wants to do well, he's a winner. And I looked at the balance of the group, and we were quite light on left footers as well in the group. And Riley can do sitting as a 2, can play as an 8, can play left wing back as well. So brings numbers, can play as a 10 as well. So very versatile and a talented young player. I'm delighted to bring him to the football club. And as I said, we like to think that they're coming for a football reason. They're not coming because from a financial point of view, we are competitive. We have been competitive, but I think there's a lot of other things that have swayed, and players have decided to come here. Connolly, Balogun, and McGree for other reasons, apart from the obvious one that's been touted about.
But when you say there that, look, we're not spending nearly as much money as people might think we are, do you also have, a responsibility, or have to be thinking about, well, I'm going to have to thin this squad out a little bit in other areas too, because, you've still got to balance things up as best you can, don't you?
Mark, I think I've always said, there'll be outs as well. So, there's certain players have been made available. Big Uchi's been made available for loan and permanent transfer. His personality is fabulous. I think, for maybe other styles and other systems, he would be suited. But the way we want to play, and the boy, and I've been open and up front and honest with him. His game time is going to be very, very minimal. So in terms of balancing the books, we've made him available for loan or permanent transfer. Marcus Brown's in talks with a couple of clubs on a permanent move. James Lee Saliki has been informed that he's available as well because of Riley coming into the group. And Anel Hernandez is in talks with a couple of other clubs. Anel's been great for me, same as Uchi, great attitude, but he's a wide player. He plays in a 4-2-3-1. He plays in a 4-3-3, plays in a 3-4-3 as a wide player. He's done a job for us down the middle, and he's give it a right go. I've got to say, for a lad who's come on loan and we're sort of making his decision, he's one of the best pros I've worked with. He's been a joy to work with, but he's another one. And from a financial point of view, it's quite a big number. For what we're paying, for somebody that game time now at the top of the pitch will be limited. You know, I'm looking at the top of the pitch now. I'm looking at Balogun, Connolly, Watmore, and Sproura, with Josh Coburn in there, another young player that we're delighted to work with, and we want to work with and improve. So we've got 5 for 2. So from a financial point of view, balancing things off with Marcus Brown, with Uchi, with Anel makes sense. And it makes sense for them as well, because they're desperate to play regular football, and no doubt at a different club, but all 3 of them will do that.
I know you said Uchi is available. I read, I think maybe a week or so ago, about Millwall apparently being in for him. Is he on the verge of a move as far as...
He'll have suitors. You know, that's left with Kieran. Obviously, one of his main sort of jobs is to you know, identify with myself players that fit what we are about. And how we want to play, and key areas that we need that need supplementing, and obviously from the Outs point of view, you know, working on that. It's quite a difficult window as well, and so we look at it, and balancing books off financially. It's been a really good one as well. We've had to invest a little bit of money into the window, which I'm delighted that the chairman has done, and backed us off the back of the results that we've had, and obviously. You know, it doesn't go amiss that a 4th round tie at Old Trafford is good financially for the football club, which we're delighted that we're going to be involved in. And I think he's genuinely excited about the second part of the season, so to back us in that. But as I've said, you know, what we've done is we've balanced things off. We've balanced things off in terms of players going out. I still think that we'd like to do another couple of bits of business. So as we said, when the window shuts at the end of January going into February, we're nice and set, and we're strong, and we're balanced, and we're covered, and we've got depth, we've got different options, and most of all we've got genuine competition for place in every position, and I feel we will have that as well when the window shuts.
You mentioned Manchester United there. Obviously it's exciting, but it's just over a fortnight away. Reading tomorrow is the next order of business, and obviously they're coming off the back of a real shellacking against Fulham, and injury problems too. Again, the form you're in, the Boro fans are going to be going to the Riverside in expectation, aren't they?
Well, I want them to. Every time they turn up, I want them to. I want them to come expecting us to do well and to win. But I think we all know the dangers of football, the dangers of arrogance, the dangers of complacency. And the dangers of arrogance and complacency, not just from the players, but supporters as well. They understand. You know, it's been a tough period for our football club. You know, over the last 4 or 5 years, been quite a lot of downs as well as the occasional ups, and we're on an upward curve. But I'm definitely not taking anything for granted. I'm believing that Reading bring their A game to the Riverside on Saturday. And you look at the top of the pitch, and Andy Carroll, Junior Euler, John Swift, who was an outstanding player, especially in the first part of the season. You know, Danny Drinkwater. You know, they've got some talented football players that on their day can turn it on. And if we're off of it by any little bit, we'll get I don't want us to get I want us to continue the momentum. I want the crowd to fully back us. So the crowd have got to be patient as well with us and be with us, because this isn't a straightforward game. And these are the games that we've got to take care of. The games where we're expected to win because of people like yourself expecting us and chucking 7-0 at us, and chucking they've been beaten by a non-league team. There's always another game. I know, I understand. There's always another game, Mark, for them to turn it around, and they'll be looking at the game on Saturday to kickstart their season. So we you know, all the messages for me over the last sort of 24, 48 hours is that we've got to be right at it. We're not good enough to just turn up and be arrogant and think, if we just turn up today and, you know, maybe dip our toe in, maybe not make that tackle, try and shortcut stuff, then we're going to get hurt without a shadow of a doubt. If we're at full tilt and we play in the manner that we've played for over the past 4 to 6 weeks, obviously at home with a passionate support behind us, we give ourselves a great chance of getting a result, but only if we're at full tilt, and that's the message from myself to the players.
Great, best of luck, thank you.
Cheers, Mark. Hey, Dawn.
Hiya.
You okay? How are you?
Fine, thanks. Just talking about the arrogance and complacency, how do you stop the players when they're on a good run and they're full of confidence and they're raring to go? How do you stop that creeping in when you know that you're playing against a team that is well below you in the table? What do you do to mentally stop that?
Just through experience and watching and listening. I've not had that feeling, but it's worth reminding to the players. I'm a hungry manager. I've just done an interview and somebody asked me regarding my personal desire and hunger after being a manager for 20 years. Where's it at? It's as hungry and as big as it's ever been to achieve. And it should be that in the players. They're on a great run. I want to get the balance right. I want them to be confident. I want them to express themselves. I want them to play, in a manner that frees the mind up to go and enjoy the football, which I'm sure we all are at the moment. But there's got to be that mentality as well that it is doing it at full tilt. So messages. I've not had to bark at them yet, but I know. I should imagine they know that I've got that in the bag as well. So. Hopefully, but constant messages to them. But there's some experienced boys in there as well that understand, and experienced boys that have had success in the career that understand that these are the games that we've really got to nail, and hopefully we do that.
And is it also partly about taking the because of where you are in the table, taking the pressure off that sort of big promotion sort of playoff thing? Is it kind of putting that out of the way and just literally concentrating on
you have to take one game at a time, but I don't want to take that away from them as well. Everybody looks at league tables. Everybody, come on. Everybody looks at league tables. Players look at it. Players see if we can get a result here, that puts us to that. So, and there's the pressure of playing for this football club. It's a huge football club in the division, and players have got to embrace it and enjoy it and run with it. I will. I'll. If somebody says to me, do you expect to win tomorrow? Yeah, well, I expect us to go well, and I think that gives us a fabulous opportunity to win. But we're up against good competition. As I said, good players and myself and the experience knowing of it. But players see league tables, players know what it's all about, and they have to deal with that. You look at the top players. Your top players in the Premier League at Man City and Liverpool, they know it's on them game in, game out, and they have to deal with it and embrace it if they want to be successful. We want to be successful. There's no two ways about it. We want this to continue. We don't want this just to be, it was a decent little period in your season and then you fell away. We're going to have the odd, we're going to have results that are not going to go for us. We're going to have days that are not going to be good days, but we want to keep this going as long as possible, and we have to, as you talked about, deal with that expectation.
Just finally for me, you mentioned you'd like maybe another couple of players in. What sort of areas are we talking about?
Just areas on the football pitch. So Jeffrey Boycott, straight batter. Sorry. Yeah, listen, we there's a couple of areas that we've identified if we can do. If we can't and it doesn't make us any better, then we won't do it, because the group's in a better place than what it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, in my opinion. That's my job and Kieran's job. But there's a couple of areas that if we can, we'd like to. And if we do that, then, I think we've had an early part of the window. It's been very, very good, and we're delighted with the work. And if we can finish it off in the second part of the season, the second part of the window, then I think we're in good nick, and we're hopefully looking forward to an exciting second part of the season.
Let's hope so. Thanks a lot. That's
Thank you.
Great.
See you later. Thanks, Simon. Hey, Simon.
Hey, how you doing, Chris? How pleased are you that not only is the club letting you do this business, but they seem to be getting it done pretty quick for you as well?
Yeah, I think that was the key that we all talked about. The window opens on the 1st, but there was work going on, for ever since I walked through the door. Really, it was a key area, and it was always going to be a big period of the season to do business, and a word that I've used quite often is smart business. So the outs sort of balance off the ins as well. So it's not an open checkbook. So we're trying to balance that off in terms of numbers and from a financial point of view as well. But to definitely get, the 3 in early part of the window is good for everybody, and if we can continue in that vein, then we'll be all delighted.
How pleased are you with the mood at the moment, considering you've just been through a COVID outbreak, considering you yourself have said that some players who may be on the move this month are still buying into what you're doing, and considering that you can go and have to change your team like you did last week and still get a result at Mansfield?
Yeah, it's part of being a manager, what you have to do. You have to try and be inventive. You've got to adjust your team when it happens, through injuries, through suspensions, through lack of form, and through obviously, this is a new one in my managerial career and a new one for everybody. The pandemic that we're in, and players at any moment. It's another day today where, as you said, I might get a visit to my office and saying 1, 2, and 3 might not be available. So that's the times that we're living in. So we have to adjust and be flexible with our approach. But the attitude is always is key for me, and it has been. And I've got to say, from a professional point of view, footballer's point of view, even though boys who maybe not see their long-term future at the football club, there's no downside to having a good attitude. There's no downside to training well or working hard, or whether there's an opportunity on the pitch to take it. And like I said, one example I give is 2 examples, Big Uchi and Anel, that I've talked about, that their attitude has been superb. And if people ring me up regarding Big Uchi and Anel, the 2 things that have possibly gone against them is that the system that we're playing, and it's just down to that, completely down to that I'm looking for different types of players. Anel has always played as a wide man, like I said, in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. Obviously our system doesn't suit Anel. He's not a natural centre forward, and Big Uchi, we're playing with a little bit more mobility, a little bit more movement. We don't really need a target to go into from the off, which is his game. But any manager rings me, I'm going to give my honest opinion to them regarding what they're like and their attributes. So they'll come in for them because their style will suit the group that they're managing, and then they'll be asking about attitude. And like I said, there's no downside to me for working hard and giving it a right go, and both those boys and Marcus Brown have done that.
Last one for me. Interested what you said about sort of complacency, and the team stuff's of course interesting. It's interesting what you said about the fans as well. So have you kind of got sort of a bit of advice for fans in terms of how they should be at the minute?
No, I think what I will say is that, which I've said, through the history of the football club, and it's a football area. There's one love. Yeah, there might be a little bit of other sports floating about, but it's a one love area. It's a football area. They know the football, and they know the importance of what they bring to the football club, to the team. What they did to the team against Bournemouth, what they did to the team at Huddersfield away, Stoke away, Boxing Day, what they did at Blackpool. So they're not daft. They're football mad. They understand the game. They understand that this isn't just an easy let's turn up and it's going to be this, that, and the other. The result has got to be earned, and it's got to be worked for, and it's got to be worked for by all of us. It's a big thing that I talk about, being together as one, from the stands onto the pitch, and we've got to set that off yet again by our standards and our attitude to the game, which I'm sure will be spot on. And I'm sure that, like I said, the knowledgeable football crowd that is at the football club will understand sort of my opinion and my sort of attitude towards it.
Nice one. Good luck. Thank you.
Cheers, Simon. Matty. Hey, Matty.
Morning, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good stuff. Can I just ask about James Lear-Saliki? I mean, his move initially in the summer held a fair bit of promise, but for just one reason or another, it's just not worked out for him. Is it just your assessment of why that's the case?
Well, he struggled to get into our side. the team, because I think that the three midfield players have been really good. Obviously, he's had, I think he had an injury. He obviously had COVID that kept him out of the group as well. The group's gone well. You know that the three midfield players have been good, and Riley McGree for a long-term purchase has always been on our radar to bring him in. As I've talked about, not just adding loans, adding assets to the group. I'm sure Riley will, and in time become a real fan's favourite in terms of the way he plays, his attributes that he possesses, his ability. So, and obviously, you know, this period, you know, sometimes you look at it and go, well, without being too controversial, you lose a player for potentially a month at a really important part of the season. So I think there's quite a lot of factors that have sort of maybe stopped him sort of playing and progressing in the team. And I've got to make decisions. You know, that's part and parcel of my job. I've got to make these decisions, and I've got to have balance and cover. And it's no good me having a Tav or a Riley who can play there and carrying and James when, you know, that money can be used elsewhere and manoeuvred to strengthen another part of the pitch.
I know you said you've had your ideas of how you want the squad to look before January even started, but just to clarify, as the additions of these four players, Connolly, Balogun, Boyd, Muntz, has that set off the chain of events that have led to, you know, Uchi and Hernandez being available?
Yeah, I always thought with it, you've got to have a vision, you've got to have a plan. So we've had a vision and a plan and an idea what we needed to do for a long time. It's just getting to that window. And as I said, you know, not personal decisions at all for any of these boys, all four boys, from James through to Marcus Brown to Uchi and Anel. You know, it's not personal at all. It's to balance off, and this is what happens at football clubs. There's players that, you know, for maybe times and maybe no fault of their own, that, you know, that the situation occurs and these things happen, and it'll happen at other football clubs, and it'll happen right the way through as it happened right the way through the history of football, and it will do. An evolution of the group and a new manager coming in with his own ideas but I'd like to think in time that we're putting a structure in as maybe the sort of the introduction and the appointment of Kieran Scott. We're now putting a longer term strategy in place that doesn't lurch from one style to the other, doesn't lurch from maybe playing it out from the back to going for direct. So you know, going from we buy this player, then all of a sudden we have to get rid of this player when the next manager comes in. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There's a sort of strategy, and I think obviously that the addition of Kieran to that, the appointment of Kieran, has set that chain of events off in motion. And at times there's going to be loan signings to supplement the group, and there's times there's going to be permanent signings. There's times where young boys, we make decisions on young boys, we feel that they've got not the attributes or qualities that we see going forward, and there's sometimes that we see these boys that we're bringing in have got those attributes and qualities that can take us forward. Everyone, as we all know, is not 100% guaranteed, and but we like to think we can get more right than wrong through our careers, through Kieran's career and through my career, in terms of the players that I've brought in at my previous clubs.
Well, as you mentioned, Kieran, my colleague Scott actually spoke to him earlier this week, and he gave some very glowing reports about yourself and his decision making in bringing you to the club. Just give us your kind of assessment of your relationship with him. Obviously, it's been very beneficial for the club as things stand.
Speed dial free, I think. That's it. We speak. Possibly, we see each other near enough every day. We possibly speak sort of half a dozen times, especially through the busy period of the window. And it's important that relationship's right. We discuss, we debate. We're not always on the same page for certain bits and pieces, but the reason that he wanted me here is because he felt he could work with me. The reason I wanted to be here is part of it is I believed in him and he believes in me, and it's a relationship that is strong, but it's not it's not pally. It's a working relationship. And he's aggressive and he's ambitious as much as I am in terms of wanting to do well for the football club. It's his first appointment as a director of football, or how you want to talk about it. Sporting director, and there's other, but he's a major part in the ins and outs. And I think the biggest thing at a football club is your players, isn't it? And the reason that maybe I've had more success than not had success is that we've had a style, we've had a strategy, we've had a plan, we've had an idea how we want to play, and how we want to implement those qualities. But we've got to get the players to do that. So it's possibly the biggest thing at a football club is the players that you bring in, and they have the identity that suits the way that the manager wants to play, and Kieran's a major part of that.
That's great, Chris. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Matty.
Good luck for Reading.
Cheers, mate. Hey, Craig.
Morning, Chris.
Morning, mate.
Just to start off with, Chris, just one on clarity on Leah Salegi. Obviously, he joined the club in the summer on a loan deal, but it did have obligations to buy if certain parameters were met. So I'm presuming from what you're saying, is it not just as simple as kind of terminating that loan and sending him back to his parents? No,
there's a lot of work to be done, as there's had work to be done on a lot of the things. The Anel situation, all of them. They're not straightforward as much as we're waiting on sort of international clearance for Riley, so they're not straightforward. The deals are complex deals. There's obviously other clubs involved as well that we have to work with, and try and get through the process. And James is the same. But we've talked to James regarding his future, and Kieran has talked to his agent, and James wants to play first team football, and obviously from his point of view, and maybe his parent point of view in terms of his value, he's not really going to keep or advance that if he's not playing first team football. And obviously now, with the former Tav and Riley, who can play in there as well, sort of his sort of opportunities and his pathways is certainly blocked. So he needs to play, and that decision's been made.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and obviously, midfield additions coming in, they are left-footed midfield additions. One player I'm asked about so often by fans is Martin Piero, and I just wonder on that, how's he doing, and how's his future looking at the club as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him. He's had a stop-start first part of the career, not at Middlesbrough, not with me, but obviously the previous manager. He's had various issues from an injury point of view. He was one that tested positive, so he was out for a week as well. He was potentially playing at Sheffield United, so that was a bit of a disappointment for him. But he's another one. He's got to fight his way into the team. The team's doing well. They've all got to have that competition and have got to fight their way in, and that's not up to me, that's up to them. So the onus is on Martin to work hard in training, and any opportunity he gets, he takes. He stays healthy, which he hasn't been able to do so far. He stays injury fit, which obviously he hasn't been able to do so far. And you can't get up to top speed. When obviously you've got all these bits and pieces that are affecting you, but his attitude's been good. He wants to play for the football club. He wants to get into the team, but that depends on Crooksy. I've got to say, arguably Crooksy's been one of our best players. That area of the pitch has been very dominant. You look at the performances against Bournemouth and you look at the performances against Forest, you know, these are really two really good sides. And the midfield three have been outstanding. I thought, you know, the Forest game, Johnny Howson, Tav and Crooksy, the way they pressed, you know, you look at the first goal and the way they've allowed us the opportunity to dictate play is through that central part of the pitch. So they've been outstanding. And if it's that three to the end of the season, there's a reason it's that three, because we're winning games of football and playing well. And it's up to the others to get in, and Martin's treated no different to anybody else. He's a Middlesbrough player and he's got to produce performances or take opportunities. And if it does open up through injury, suspension or a loss of form, Martin goes in, and then it's up to him to stake a claim and keep hold of the shirt. Nothing changes from about 50 years of football here. It's always been the same, hasn't it? I don't put the best players on the bench. The good players. But what I'm saying is I don't go, I tell you what, for today, what we'll do is, he's our best player, so what we'll do is put him on the bench. Do you understand?
Of course, yeah. Yeah. On to Neil Taylor, Chris. Obviously, his contract is due to expire sometime soon. I presume mid-January. It was said. How's things on that front? Are talks progressing with him at all?
Yeah, talks between the club and Neil. I've gone on record. I want that to be done. So you know, fingers crossed it is, because I think Neil's been outstanding. He's come to the football club. I knew, obviously, yet again, I knew what Neil was about, knowing what his career is all about, knowing what his personality is all about. You know, to come into that game against Bournemouth, having not played any football or any senior football, and playing the manner that he did, and take that on. You know, for me, Neil Taylor's been outstanding off the pitch as well as on it as well. You know, when Boro was playing, you know, Neil was there backing it up, encouraging in the changing room, proper team player. Waited for his opportunity, like we talked about Piero or anybody else, waiting for their opportunity to step in. It opened up. Mark got injured, and he's took it. And I'll be delighted if Neil gets sorted out and stays to the end of the season and hopefully longer.
Brilliant. Yeah. Just lastly from me, Chris, any new injuries? How's the squad shaping up for the weekend? Yeah,
we're okay. We're obviously waiting on today the dreaded. What time are we on? 10 o'clock sort of medical meeting. So fingers crossed that we go into that, and we've got plans for. We worked on shape yesterday. No injuries. Duncan Watmore's back training, in full training. He had a little bit of a niggle, but like I said, through the postponements, it wasn't one injury at all. You know, apart from the long-term ones, the Bowler ones, the Amiobi ones, the Fisher ones, the Oliansu ones, and Marcus Brown ones. You know, we didn't have any short-term injuries, which is fabulous, and it's great credit to the work the medical department are doing at the football club, the conditioning and the boys that are doing. We're going to pick up injuries, but if we're healthy and we're fit, it does make my job that more difficult. But I'll be a happy manager if that's the way, and I've got a full quota complement of players to choose from, and it's got to be the way going into the second part of the season.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. Good.
Cheers, Craig.
Rob to finish off.
Hey, Rob.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
Chris. Just a couple of quick questions. First of all, we're coming into a match where the town's had a big outbreak of COVID. The players have had a big outbreak of COVID, and it's our first league game in the new year at home. So there's a lot of reasons for everyone to be very excited tomorrow. I mean, are you excited about?
I'm excited every time, you know, visit the Riverside. It's been, you know, we obviously had the Preston game wasn't a great one, but I think the performances generally on the whole of how I've wanted them to be have been. There's certain periods of games, there's certain parts of games where, you know, we reflect and we think we can do better. But I think right the way through the games that we've had at home, I think they've generally been very, very positive, and the supporters have bought into what we're trying to do. And I'm delighted how quickly that's happened. we've got to keep it going. We've got to still produce those standards, the work ethic, the commitment of the team to win, to win headers, to win tackles, to win races, and then play in the manner that we've played. There's going to be days where it isn't as free flowing as what it maybe was against Bournemouth or what it was against Forest. But that's a standard that we've set, and we need to get as close to that as possible. And if we do, then I believe the home form is going to be crucial in what we do. I want to make it hostile. I want to make it tough for teams to come in into our backyard. I want them to feel as if it's, they're not just playing against 11, they're playing against 20, 25, 30,000 staff and everybody, and make it as difficult as possible, and use every advantage that we have. If it's cold, great. If it's a long journey up, great. If it's hostile, if it intimidates in the right way, yeah, good. As long as it's just the right way and we don't step over the boundaries, and players don't enjoy coming to the Riverside, and the players have got to make sure that they put in the performances that really gets into the opposition's teams, and obviously off the back of that we'll get the support that we've had so far, and that'll continue.
So in other words, it's about building a momentum now, and is that at all difficult in a month like January where players are coming in and out and there's big cup matches? No,
the great games to look forward to. We've got some fabulous games coming up, and they mean something. I've talked about it, meaning. There's always a meaning to every game, but it takes on significant more when you're in the position that we are and where we're striving to be. So, we're all looking forward to it, really excited, but we've got to get the job done. And we've got to want that winning feeling that we all have at 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon when the team's produced a positive performance. I'm not no way underestimating the division. Every challenge is a challenge and is as tough as they come. And for people thinking that tomorrow will be easy, well, I think that they're not thinking in the right way. This league, if you want to be successful, you've got to turn up week in, week out. You've got to be consistent in everything you do, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this group of players, and take it from there.